Hi, everybody. Hopefully, this is live on my Facebook page. Today, we are diving into fears around investing in yourself. Okay, so I received an email after someone watched my video where I was talking about the Radical Forgiveness book and how it changed my life, and it'll change yours too. And she just shared some things with me about investing in herself. She's got the book, but now just thinking about doing some healing work. And I wanted to make a video about this because this is definitely something that I dealt with in the beginning of my healing journey, like this fear around investing. So I can really speak to this because my relationship with money has just it's been up and down. It's ever evolving. It's one of the reasons why I also became a sacred money archetype coach and a money healer because this is just, I think I am here. Like part of my soul's journey is to heal a relationship with money. And I know it because I had my first money trauma at a very young age, and I just feel like this is part of my journey. So I can really speak to this. So I wanted to make a video about it. So when you go to invest in healing trauma, healing, growing like spiritually or through personal development or even healing your relationship with money, like these are all like new things in the world. Our parents weren't really investing in life coaching and spiritual healing, right? So these things can just kind of seem out there. And so like our brain is going to try to protect us and it's going to come up with some reasons why we shouldn't invest, right? So you may think like this is it's a scam, or you look at your bank account and think like, where's the money going to come from? Or you have the money there, but then there's this fear of what if I take and spend this money on this and then I need new tires or the heater goes out, right? And all these what if scenarios come up that just makes it harder to invest. Or perhaps you have the money there and like that's not really a problem, but then your mind says, but what if I spend this money and nothing changes? So all these things can come up when it's time to invest, and it is personal. I'm sorry, it is absolutely normal. So one as I was saying in my radical forgiveness video, in the past, I was a borderline alcoholic. I don't think I said it, but I was an exotic dancer. So I lived what I call I lived in the underworld for quite a while, and just like lived, like just lived this just completely different life. I was a completely different person. I was very much a victim, like feeling like things always happen to me, things always go wrong for me. I remember something happened. Let's just say I used to get flat tires all the time. And my friend and her boyfriend, I was telling them just like whining, they're like, you always think something is the worst, like something little can happen and you just make it like it's the biggest deal. And I just remember thinking like, but don't everybody do that? Apparently not, because the truth was, I mean, I had the money to get the tire fixed. So like, why am I crying about it? But that I just felt like God and life was always throwing some things, at me. And it's like, why me? So just like this why me attitude. So then when it came to this place of like me knowing like, oh, you can heal, oh, life can change for you, I was kind of like all in, and I stepped on this spiritual path of like really wanting to learn how to heal myself so that my outer world could change, so that I could stop dating unemotional guys and really find someone to love me and learn how to love myself. Like I was just like, hell yes, I want to learn all about this stuff. And so for the first year or maybe even two, it was just me half reading books and doing stuff on YouTube. And I was feeling some shifts, but still not like what I wanted. So there was this belief, and I'm pretty sure it was the I'm not enough belief that I felt like really held me back. So I was looking online for someone to just be able to help me like clear out this belief. So I found a coach, I signed up for his single session. And I remember as he's taking me through this process to eliminate this belief, it felt like walls were falling down in my mind. I don't know if I think it's like that movie Inception where like a building was there and then it's not. Like I just felt like these things collapsing inside of me. And I was thinking like, what is this voodoo sorcery shit that he is doing? Like it just kind of freaked me out. But then on one end, it also seemed really simple. So then when he, like at the end invited me to continue to do this work with him, I was just kind of like, no, I'm good. Like, this is just what I needed. And I didn't really know if it worked or not. I didn't know until maybe a week later. I was new to my relationship, maybe like a month or two. And I was cooking. I used to hate for him to come in the kitchen while I'm cooking, like, because I felt so insecure. And I used to have a boyfriend that always told me what I was doing wrong, like, oh, you should stir it like this, or you should do this. So I was very insecure around my cooking. So I'm like, don't come in the kitchen. So then one day he came in the kitchen after work and I was cooking. And then we were just talking. And it wasn't until I went to bed that I was like, holy crap, like I finished cooking with him right in the kitchen and I didn't make him leave. That session worked. Like I felt good enough, right? So I was steady for the rest of the year. Like now I'm really all in on the like healing work, and I'm trying to do things myself. And it gets to be a year and I feel like I only moved like 1 or 2 inches since I had spoken to the coach. And I felt like I could have been so much further ahead if I would have just said yes. So I reached back out to him, and he actually did a couple more just single sessions with me, just letting me pay, for a single session weekly or something like that. And then it came to maybe after about a month or two of that, he's like, basically, in his own beautiful words, told me like, this isn't, working for him any longer, if he would love to continue to work with me, but he likes to work with his clients in long-term containers. And he was like, I know money is an issue for you. And so at that point, I really was not working. I was just kind of working here and there. No, I was working from home and my hours had got cut. I was working for a Rise, like customer service. And my hours got cut to where I was working like 10 hours a week. Like that's all the company that I worked with had available for us, was like 10 hours a week. I own a home. I didn't have a roommate, so it's like everything's on me and my income had got cut. And so he's like, I know, you're in the, you're having some money trouble, but you tell me what you can pay and I'll work with whatever you can pay. So I told him what I could pay monthly. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And I worked with my first coach for 5 years, working on like clearing out beliefs and just, working on my daddy issues, there was a lot of self-esteem work, and there's a lot of shame around being a dancer, a lot of shame around the way I behaved sometimes when I would drink, right? So like there was so much to heal and work on. And in addition to our weekly sessions, I was sitting down, like I would have my calendar out and I would be like, I would have like listed on here, like, okay, Saturday, cry about this. On Tuesday, do EFT on this. Like I had a calendar and I would really show up. And like my intuition really started kicking in, and like this intuitive healer inside of me showing me what I needed to do in between the sessions, and what I couldn't get to, I would take to my coach and be like, hey, I was working, on this time that my ex did this, but I just can't let it go. And, we'd work through it. So like that was my experience with with coaching, is that I really saw it as me investing in me as a way to speed up the progress, because I can see how having someone help me is far faster than me trying to do it myself. And then another thing about it is that when you split off the energy when you're trying to be your own healer. It's like you're the part of you trying to hear the guidance to heal yourself, and you're the part of you that needs to be healed, and you're the healer. So it's like your energy is split. Whereas when you're working with a coach, or I'm working with my coach, and he's like, close your eyes, go back to, when you were in that argument with him, right? Like now you just get to be in the seat and be guided into the places that you need to go inwardly. So much of my sessions are done with my clients' eyes closed, and like we're going in to the places, into the body, to like remove these imprints, like the depression or the shame or the abandonment. Like we're going in and we are clearing this stuff out of the body. So that's just really important. I believe it's really important to have, sorry, I just knocked my camera and now it's blurry. Hopefully it'll come back into focus. Let's see. That's so weird. I'm trying to hit my desk again. Okay, here we go. That's crazy. Okay. So I kind of lost my train of thought, but maybe it'll come back. But that's my point of like, it's why I believe that it is important to work with you, especially when you do have deep wounds, right? Like let someone who knows what they're doing guide you inward to those places, because your ego is going to try to protect you. Your ego really doesn't want you to heal, because it's like when you heal, who are you going to be? Right? And the ego survives by sameness, keeping things the same. It knows that if you do the same thing, feel the same way you felt yesterday or for the last 3 years, then you're going to be safe. But as soon as you go up to try to heal these wounds, it's like, well, who am I going to be without these abandonment issues? Am I even going to survive? I don't know. So I'd rather keep these abandonment issues, because at least I know I'll be alive, right? So that's its reasoning. So when it comes time to invest, or even to sit down to do your own EFT tapping or whatever, the ego is going to try to come up with some excuses, because it really doesn't want you to heal. Or when you try to do your own deep work, it's only going to let you go so far before it's like a wall up and you can't get through to the real pain. And then in radical forgiveness, because I'm a radical forgiveness coach, the first step is telling the story. This is the first step to healing, is telling the story. And it says in this step, someone willingly and compassionately listens to us tell our story and honors it as being our truth in the moment. Having heard our story and just witnessed, and having it witnessed, is the first step to letting go. And it helps us to fully release victimhood. So part of the reason that we can't heal ourselves is because part of the healing comes from having your story witnessed lovingly and compassionately. Okay. So when you're just doing your own healing, it's just you. Nobody's witnessing you. Nobody's holding that space for you. And like what I'll tell my clients, is your trauma happened in relation to someone, in relationship to someone else. Doesn't mean you're in a relationship with them. Like you might not have been in a relationship with, someone who abused you, but in relation to, meaning, like there's two people, and in relation to them, like there was another person there when it happened. So then you go to try to do it on your own. It didn't happen on your own. It happened in some sort of relationship or in relation to another human being. So when you are there with a professional, then you are again in relationship. You're back in relation, and it's not singular. It didn't happen singularly to you. Okay. So when you can really, so like this is something that I had to understand, because I am kind of a DIYer, right? I want to do it on my own, but then I had to humble myself and say, I can't, right? I didn't create my abandonment issues on my own. Someone abandoned me and it happened, right? So then having someone lovingly hold that space and witness me was just healing in itself. That's why, like, if you get on, let's say, like, you've ever been on one of my goddess circles and you share, it's like there's something in your soul that heals because you're being witnessed by other people. Okay. So there, I made some sticky notes of some things that I want to be sure not to miss. There's several things. So, one is be willing to put the work in and stop the quick fix, like looking for a quick fix. Like, oh, if I get one Reiki session, then that is going to heal all my childhood trauma. No, it doesn't work like that. So like be in it to win it, meaning like be in it for the long haul, however long it takes. That's the way that I looked at it. I know it took, I gathered up trauma from birth to, we're all that, trauma can happen all the time, but just really thinking about a timeline all the way until I was, let's say, like 30 when I started working with a coach. Like there's 30 years of trauma that I'm bringing to these healing sessions. I can't expect for one Reiki session where I'm laying on a bed and somebody has their hands over me, like that's going to heal my whole 30 years of childhood trauma. It doesn't work like that. And so for me, like I just had this where I wanted to be the best version of me, and I wanted to be the version of me that didn't have, like, live a life where that gray cloud wasn't just following me, raining on me, and I feel like shitty and depressed all the time. So I'm like, I'm willing to invest and do whatever it takes to like live where the sun is out and like good things happen to me and I get to have good thoughts and feel good about myself in life. And like I'll keep investing in myself so I can have that, because I never want to go back to that old paradigm and where I needed to drink to try to numb out or eat to numb or that kind of thing. So what if this work doesn't work for me is another note that I have. My thought is like, but what if it does? And there's nothing else that I'd rather take a risk on or bet on than my healing. So have I invested in things and felt like they didn't work? 100%. But it's like, this is the way that I see healing. Give me 1 second. And then this one's better. Okay, this is the way that I see healing. Like we just got a bunch of scribble, scrabble. This like represents like, let's just say energy in here and trying to, let's see. Okay, and like this represents, let's just say all the crazy chaotic energy inside of us, right? But let's just say it's just like all over. So if you just do, let's say you paid for 4 weeks of some type of healing, you did, something did happen. Like you started to clear up some of this. So it worked. It may not have cleared up all of the scribble scrabble, all of the trauma that you've had in 30 years. It might not have cleared it up in 4 weeks, but you've made some sort of progress. Oh, I wish my light, okay, right? Like, so it's starting, the unraveling is happening. But I don't think coaches don't sometimes set up proper expectations. So if you go in thinking that, okay, for 4 weeks is going to heal everything, then yeah, that's what you're going to expect. But like, I would never, ever say like, we're going to heal all your trauma in 4 weeks. What I do in my coaching, let's say I did a 4 week, or I like to do 6 weeks, but it's like we're focusing on one or two things. Like we're very specific on what we're healing in those 6 weeks. And even when you work with me for like 4 months, I have a 4-month program, we know what we're specifically going after. Because sometimes you don't have to work on every single thing that happened to you, throughout the 30 years. You can work on one or two big things, and it's like a domino effect that like clears energy around the other things. So for instance, I didn't work on every single boyfriend and relationship that I had when I healed my father wound, because they were all similar in like abandonment. I felt abandoned and not seen in a lot of the relationships. And so my dad represented a lot of that. So when I healed my relationship with my dad, it collapsed the energy around some of the other relationships that I've had. Not all of them. There were still some big things that I had to work on, like, an abusive relationship. Like that was different from my relationship with my dad. So like I had to specifically work on that. So we're very specific in the way that we work. We're looking for the big things that have the most energy around them and collapse them, because then again, it collapses other trauma and situations and pains that you've had in your life. Also, if you go into your coaching or whatever you're investing in already thinking that it's not going to work, that things just don't work for me, I've tried this before, this probably isn't going to work, but here, take my money, it's probably still not going to work, right? Because life has to present you with what you believe. So if you really believe that healing isn't for you, then you're not going to do the work. You're going to half show up, right? It's not going to happen in a way that you want because you don't believe it. So you really have to believe, or like be willing to like, I'm willing to see where this goes. I'm willing to see who I become, and really focus on this becoming a better version of you, because like in the becoming, it's an evolution. It's a process that may not just happen in 6 weeks, right? But if you're committed to the evolution of you, then you don't mind investing and continuing the process, because it's like, I'm just forever invested in me growing and becoming the best version of me. Just looking at my note. Okay. We already talked about that stage and radical forgiveness. Oh, and then right before I go, in the email, she said like a couple specific things that I wanted to make sure that I touched on for her. And for any of you that have things come up for you, you can go to essenceturner.com and click on, I think it says about contacts, and like drop me a line. I'll make a video for you too, answering what's coming up for you. So she said, I continue to hear my mentors and teachers talk about how they don't grind or hustle, and I feel broken like an idiot because I'm a part of their easy income flow. And so what I just want to say is, it is so easy to feel this way because, again, like I spoke about, is like all this investing in yourself is kind of new to a lot of us, right? So that's one reason why it can feel like a scheme sometimes, because again, this is just all kind of new. And then coaching is intangible, right? Like you're giving your money to another human being, And they're not like, hey, I make my own lip balm and here you go. So like we just exchanged money for something that you can see, hold, and touch, right? So there it's you're exchanging money for something intangible. But and your brain thinks like, I'm not getting something on the other side of that transaction, but you are like, you're paying someone to help you do something that you haven't been able to do on your own. You're paying them to be there for you, right? Like what I love about coaching, like having my own coach, is like that time is just about me. They're there cheerleading me. I don't have to listen to their problem, then I share mine and she cut me out like you do with friends. You got to share the space. Like, no, the space is just all yours. So you're paying for them to be there for you, to hold that space, to listen, to be your guide into your inner world, to help you access your own answers that your ego isn't letting you get to. You're paying for them to help you believe in yourself and trust the answers that you get and not second guess yourself. They're helping you to heal wounds that you can't get to on your own. And they show you the way that they followed and the things that have worked for them, or like what they trained in, and they're sharing those specific skills with you, right? So you are getting something on the other side of that money. And my clients who are coaches, and that like have the ickiness around charging, like I share this, it's like I had to teach myself that I'm actually getting the short end of the stick. Like I learned this with one of my very first like deep healing clients, and we healed like some sexual trauma that really impacted her self-esteem and like self-worth issues, to where she couldn't even look in the mirror. So she paid me, let's say, I think like $2,100. And then at the end, she's like this brand new person, can look herself in the mirror, can feel good about herself, has a beautiful relationship with her inner child, where she didn't want nothing to do with that part of her, at first, still hanging on to her ex. Now she's freeing him and ready to go date somebody else. So it's like she only paid 2,000 something dollars for that, and she gets to be this person for the rest of her life. Like that's $100,000 right there. And so you like the money that you pay for these 4 months, and like everything you get and the person you get to become within that container, you get to be that for the rest of your life. But nobody's charging you for that. But like that, there's still a cha-ching every time. Let's say she look in the mirror and she's like, oh, I look good. Boop, that like, what if coaches paid, you had to pay your coach every time you now felt good about yourself, right? So you get so much more than what you're actually paying for, because you get it. It gets to come with you for the rest of your life. And then the last thing, this is really important, because this is me, is that, okay, thinking about being part of a coach's easy cash flow. Let's say like they sell workbooks, right? And they just get to live this life of leisure, and they have these online self-paced courses, and it's like, I don't want to keep investing, and they just get to live a life of ease. But it's like, the truth is, when we invest in, let's say, a $19 workbook course to heal your mother wound in 30 days, or workbook course to sign your first client in 30 days, the truth is we might only do those prompts for 3 to 4 days. And then we're like, I still can't stand my mama, I blame her for everything, or nobody's reached out to me to learn more about coaching, so this doesn't work, right? And then we quit. And there's still 20 something days to go, but we just stop, right? But who knows who you would have become by day 30, or what you might have manifested by day 30. So when you quit on yourself, it's like, then you make the coach the fault, right? Or their program the fault, but it's really like you scammed and scammed your own self because you didn't follow through. And like this is something that I even had to learn about books that I'm purchasing. And then at the end, when they have these exercises to do, and I just skip over them, it's like, no, really follow this through. Because like the internal inquiry creates awareness and it can create change. So again, we have to stop looking for the quick fix and be willing to be in it for the long haul. Okay. And so if you're buying these 19, let's say like you bought the $19 sign your first client workbook, and at the end of 30 days, you didn't sign your first client, but you feel more confident and ready and like know they're coming at some point in time, like then you'll more than likely invest in another workbook, right? Because you did the work and you feel an internal shift. A lot of times we don't feel that internal shift or things don't change because we're not really doing the work. And then another thing she said, I don't want to sign up for courses because I feel like that's just maybe not my lane. And so I just want to say that the healing lane is for everyone. It's for everyone who wants it. Not everyone wants it, right? Some people want to stay stuck in their story, stay stuck in their pain, and that's their right to until they're ready to come out. But for the person who's ready to heal, that healing lane is for everyone. But you have to really listen to your soul and let your soul guide you on the course. Let your soul guide you on your teacher and not your mind, because your mind may be like, oh, well, I want to work with this person. She lives in Bali and she has this life and this and that. Like you're looking at the shiny objects that this person has instead of like who your soul is guiding you to work with or what book your soul is guiding you. So there might be a book that's on Amazon and it's $39.99, but your brain is like, oh, there's this other healing book for $7.99, right? Like you gotta listen to your soul. Let your soul show you who's your healer, who's your teacher, what to invest in, not your mind. Your mind sometimes can't go with you on the journey, can't be the leader of the journey. Once you start listening to your heart and soul, then your mind can get on board. But in the beginning, it's just trying to find the easy way out, or it is just trying to keep you stuck in the same old habits and patterns because it doesn't want you to change. All right. So I have a client in just a few. I think I covered everything. I'm just trying to look to make sure I said everything that I listed and what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. All right. So remember that if you are investing in you, you're not just investing in a coach to just, like blow over money or whatever. It's like there is an exchange happening. You are bringing your money to this person, and yes, they get to do whatever they want with it. But on the other end of that, you are receiving some sort of transformation. You are leaving better than when you came. And that is valuable and that is worth paying for. And you are worth the investment. You feeling better, being a better version of you, being a better human, being more kind and loving to you. I think have I had lipstick? I'm sorry. You being a better human, even to you, is worth the investment. All right, friends, I will talk to you later. Again, hit me up if anything comes up for you. Like I love having hearing from you and then being able to curate content that will not just help the person emailing me, but help whoever else is listening. All right, I will talk to you later.